So Marsha's like, I'm done. So we just sat for 2 weeks before the Lord and just waited. And that's when this trailer, the first trailer we had, became available. And then a brother had $10,000 and this guy had a trailer. And we went to Hobby Lobby and bought Hebrews letters and nailed them up. And we went to like, our first event was a Christian rock concert, like hardcore rock.
Where?
In New Caney.
Or
Yeah.
somewhere.
New Caney?
New Caney.
Hey guys, so today I'm with Geoff and Marsha. Is that what we decided?
Yes.
That is what we decided.
yes.
You just called her
I
Geoff,
know.
but that's okay. We'll just let that go for now.
Geoff and Marsha.
There you go, yeah.
Founders and owners of Hebrews Coffeehouse.
What? Yes.
Yeah. Good to be
Yeah,
here.
that's right. You did good. Yeah. We got that one right. Amen.
Hebrews Coffeehouse is in Magnolia, Texas, and it has a very unique story. And that's why I wanted to make sure that I brought them on and got to share that with you guys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I love Geoff and Marsha. Geoff and Marsha, Geoff and Marsha.
Amen. Amen.
They're so sweet. And if you've ever come into the coffee house, you just know immediately. It's like you walk into family, you know, It's like the
Yeah.
living room when you go home, like, you know, in the holidays and all that. Anyways, so, I mean, I can go into all that forever, but I wanted to bring them to you guys because they have such a cool story. I mean, the way that they met is incredible. And then just like what God's doing through them is incredible. So anyways, before I start telling their story, I would love for them to share it to you guys. So
Yes.
Well,
So-
thank you for coming and hanging out with us, and it'd be a great time of just getting to know,
No,
our
we're
story.
excited.
Yeah.
Our whole heart with coffee is, and we just talked to another coffee girl who's just starting out her journey. The trailer's getting built out, and I just go, oh, you got so long to go, you know? Because most coffee folks will, I think the idea is a little romantic that, hey, we'll get this coffee trailer, we'll go sit out on the side of the road, we'll sell coffee in the wintertime, and it's nothing like that. It's a lot of work,
It's
you know?
a lot of work.
Yeah.
What's beautiful is that when Marsha had been sick and tired of being sick and tired with logistics, I had finally got into like the nonprofit world, and I thought, okay, here it goes. We're going to do public relations for nonprofit world. And then they shut down that facility. I was like, dang it. Years and years ago, God had given me an idea for Hebrews Coffee. And so when I used to Bible study with guys or hang out, we'd always have Hebrews Coffee as a joke. Yeah. So I never thought we would really have a place where
I think in his heart, he really did want.
it.
He really
Yeah.
did want like community and just. It's like a party every day. He really did.
I love that.
I know that. He can say
It
he really
is.
didn't think it was going to be true, but I think in his heart, he really did. He wanted a place where people are happy.
Yeah.
It's happening. So
Well, what we saw too just in the trailer talk is the trailer never really allowed us to be one place forever, always, you know. And I was so terrified of overhead and, oh my God, what it would be like if we had a shop and employees. And it took pressure to get us to this place that we're in today.
you guys got ahead of me.
Yeah, I did. I see that, and I'll do that. You got to
Well,
shut me
I
down.
just wanted to know about how you guys met. And when you met, did you know that he was already obsessed with coffee and that he was going to open up a coffee
that's a
house?
Good question.
So
Tell
we
'em.
had met at a Bible study. And I was
Fellas,
kind of
take notes.
Yeah, I was at a place in my life where I was kind of like I was feeling old and like, God, what are you gonna do? Because I feel like there had been failures in my life, and it was just at a place where I was just like, okay, I know you've done such a work in me, and just a lot of years of kind of going through the fire, and so, but. Just that week when I met Geoff, I was like, you know what, Lord, I'm just going to be with the body. I'm just going to go back, and not that I was far away from God, but I was just in a place where I was distracted. And then I just felt like, oh God, I keep just doing stuff. And I know I need to just be with the church and be with believers. And I just made a commitment. I was like, that's it, Lord. I can't make any promises. Because you just feel like you fail and you go through things. And so I was like, I'm just going to start going back to Bible study. And so I met Geoff at a Bible study that week. And it was the same situation. I'd been praying for a husband, somebody who loves the Lord, whose heart is for the Lord. And he had been praying for a wife.
Yeah.
So.
And you both had your little hello, I am husband.
Hello, I am single and ready to mingle. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was something because immediately we did really like, there was a spark, but it was
Yeah.
real.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was mostly my spirit. I was like, okay, he's a cute guy, but and then he started talking. I was like, okay,
He's
there's
really
some
cute.
depth there. No, it's not. There's some depth of God. And so anyway, we met, and probably maybe a month, about 4 or 6 weeks later, we just kept going to Bible study, and then we started really just kind of connecting over the phone, started sharing the word with each other. And so anyway, I didn't realize that he totally was like loved coffee in that certain sense, but I do know that he always had coffee in his hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where I like a couple drinks at Starbucks, but that was the extent of my coffee love.
You should have known. He always had coffee in his hand.
Yeah, exactly.
He's doomed.
And and he still does. Sometimes I'm like, can you drink some water? Jeez.
We don't believe in water.
So that's how we.
So
kind
did you ask her out?
Man, I'll tell you what. Y'all want to hear a crazy story? So Marsha I have no bio kids. So Marsha had 5 children plus a grandchild. Listen, when you're ready, you're ready. And I was like, listen, I'm ready for whatever the Lord has for me. And I was pursuing just our friendship, I guess, because you're a little skitsy dating, whatever. But then Hurricane Harvey happened, and I couldn't get home. And so Marsha had
I had a
people
friend over
that were staying at her house because they couldn't get back home because the water
Yeah.
started flooding.
Okay.
So I just slept on her couch. This is how you do it, guys. Like you just wait for a hurricane and you can slide in and sleep on their couch.
I think it was that week before though
Yeah.
that honestly we really started talking, and we realized, in my head I was like, does he like me? I think he likes me.
Wait, you didn't know?
No, I mean, because it was like seriously like just Fridays at Bible study.
Okay.
Fridays at Bible study, we'd see each other and we'd talk, and just things that we had in common. And so but then one weekend, which was right before Harvey. It was right before Harvey. He called me. He's like, "Oh, I just want to share with you," or we were messaging each other, and and he goes, "Oh, I just want to share some stuff in the Word," and we just had this great fellowship,
Okay.
And then I think it was like that day or the next day, I was like, "Does he?" Because I know he's younger than me, just a little. No. And so that's kind of how we I don't know. It's just like as soon as we really started talking, we just realized, wow, God's brought us together.
Yeah.
So I think it was week 2, we started talking about marriage.
No way.
Yeah.
We really did.
Of course.
Yeah, we really
So,
did.
and we were really broke. Like we
Yeah.
really were like nothing. I mean, I know everything looks different today, and sometimes we don't look like what we've been through, but we came out of some really broken situations. And I have a crazy story. I probably won't share it all, but just craziness and her actually hearing my testimony and being like, oh, "That's awesome! Like, dang it, you're amazing!" Like, so it was great, and that relationship started progressing very quickly. So we got married within like 2 months.
It was
right?
4,
4
but
months.
okay. It was 4 months.
4
How did
months,
you
okay.
propose?
I proposed. Because I'm this kind of worshiper, I was able to lead worship, learn how to play music, right? Well, I'm not that great. So the homeless mission in Conroe, I was their worship leader, and we were going to do a worship night on Christmas Eve, and it was like 29 degrees and
It was
snowing.
freezing.
In Texas?
And yes,
Yes,
we only have
the
like
one
3
night.
of those in a 10-year period. And so
I believe it actually snowed
It
like
did,
right
man.
around Christmas
It
during
did.
that
Wow.
time.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
great. It was like 4 or 5 years ago now
Yeah.
for you. And so I had proposed, like we did this worship night, and the poor little girl playing guitar with me, her hands like locked up.
No, she was
I'm
on the keyboards, was it?
No, she was on the guitar. I
Oh,
was on the
okay.
keys.
Yeah.
And then we kind of set it up with the pastor where I got to ask Marsha to marry me, and that was December 24th of 2017.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did you know?
I mean, we had talked about being married. We just we knew God brought us together.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't really know, but I just had the sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you're like, oh, okay, it's tonight the night, you know?
Tonight's the night.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then we couldn't have, man, it's funny because we worked at the homeless mission just volunteering, and we didn't have opportunity or money to go rent a venue to get married. And so we ended up being married at the park in Conroe at the homeless mission. And we set up we just invited everybody. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, we're
Wait,
going to
what?
invite every homeless
Yeah.
person in the world.
Yeah.
Get them out here.
Well, we were connected to like 2 different homeless ministries. Not,
Okay.
One of them was more of a shelter where, women, kids go. And then the other one was a homeless mission. And so we're just like, we're going to be at the park. And we actually just planned to just do like cakes, and anybody could bring a dessert.
Yeah.
And then he worked for Starbucks part-time, and they
did,
said,
yeah.
oh, we'll donate coffee. So we kind of thought, we'll just do it in the evening, and we'll just do cakes and coffee.
I love
well, then just out of the blue, about 2 weeks before, because I kept thinking about this, like, well, we have some kind of appetizer. Like, I don't know, we got to do something. But 2 weeks before, someone that we just happened to meet, I'm not sure along the way, they heard a little bit of our story. And they said, hey, we're just starting a barbecue, like, food truck, and we'd love to come and give you 200 plates of barbecue.
Whoa.
Man.
Yes, so
And
that ended
there
up
was
happening.
200 people that showed up to this wedding. It was so awesome.
And you didn't know them?
No, not.
We
I mean, we
did.
did. Well, you know what's
you
funny
did
is
know them.
because
Okay.
of coming back in this area in doing ministry, man, I had met so many people within that 4 or 5 month period.
Okay.
I would tell you 75% of the people that came to our wedding were new friends and believers
Wow.
in our community from Woods Edge and Faith Bible and just whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what made it so rich. It was like this big coming of the saints where everybody
Yeah.
was there and God held the weather off. It was supposed to rain and be
It
crazy
was,
that
okay,
day.
so like April sometimes could bring like perfect weather. And so we had this whole week of amazing weather.
Yes.
But on Saturday, it was 100% chance of rain. And it wasn't going to change. It was
Okay.
like every day kept saying the same thing. And, his mother-in-law was like, what's your backup plan?
What's your plan B?
It's going to rain. We're like, we asked the Lord and he didn't give us a backup plan.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was really cool when I was walking up and the wedding was right about to start. I seen these brothers on the side. It was like longtime brothers of his in the faith. They were standing on the sides. Both of them were standing on the sides, and they were just with their hands up. And I was
Praying.
like, oh, okay. And later on, a younger, like high school girl, friends of our daughters, came and she goes, did you see those brothers? They were out there praying, Lord, hold back the rain, hold
Wow.
back the rain. And it did. Like the rain held off. And we had a wedding, a little reception, and it was like later on that night, just
Oh,
poured
buckets.
down in rain. So,
So hopefully everybody knows on the show, this is the Cindy Rendon Faith and Family portion. Yeah, lots of God talk.
yeah.
But man,
No,
God's
I
been
love
very
it.
real in all of everything that's happened with our marriage and our wedding. And then things shifted where she didn't want to work in the position she was in logistics, been doing that a long time.
So you guys got married in 2017.
2018.
2018. Okay, you got engaged.
Yeah,
4 months.
2017.
Yes.
So at that point, did you already know that you wanted to do coffee?
So I actually took a job at Starbucks just because, and I told them, and so my Starbucks friends out there, they're still awesome, and the manager that took a risk on me, even though I was the worst barista in the world for a long time. I'm sorry, everybody
sure
who drank my
that's
drinks.
not
it was the customer relations that were great.
That was it. Yeah, just keep talking, Jeff. Don't make no drinks. Those folks who gave me a chance at, and I said, hey, I want to open a coffee shop one day, and they're like, okay. And I said, I have this crazy story, and they're like, okay, that's great. And so I worked for a year at the Starbucks in Hughes Landing, met a ton of cool people, and
Wait, seriously?
yeah.
Hughes Landing?
Oh,
my gosh,
yeah.
okay.
Oh yeah, I was there every day.
We're still friends with people that we know.
And
Isn't that
listen,
cool?
we were
like close to.
our job. I mean, guys, I didn't have a lot of opportunity back then. I was working construction in the morning, and then I'd work Starbucks at night, and we'd clean offices in the evening, and so everything was kind of building into what God wanted to do. And then she left her job, and I was like, "Hey, you're kind of making all the money. You sure you want to do that? The Lord told you that?" And
we
she said, "I'm
did.
done."
We prayed for like 3 months,
Yeah.
okay? Because I was like, I think my time is done with logistics. And so he wasn't
Dang
quite
it.
agreeing with that at first.
Don't do it. You're making money now. So, and then my little portion at the nonprofit kind of, they had an issue with the building facility. They shut down the building, and so Marsha's like, "I'm done." So we just sat for 2 weeks before the Lord, and just waited. And that's when this trailer, the first trailer we had, became available. And then a brother had $10,000, and this guy had a trailer, and we went to Hobby Lobby and bought Hebrews letters and nailed them up. And we went to our first event was a Christian rock concert, like hardcore rock.
Where?
In New
Caney
Caney,
or
yeah.
somewhere.
New Caney?
New
It is
Caney.
New Caney.
We
Wow.
trucked that little trailer out there, and that was our first event. I think we made $200. We thought we were like, what? $200?
They paid us.
Yeah, they
Give him
did.
coffee.
Yeah.
So right before that, maybe like a week or two, as soon as we found out we had this coffee trailer, we're like, okay, I guess we're going to do coffee. We met our sweet roaster, Purified Coffee Roasters,
Purified,
Chris
yeah.
Johnson. And so we kind of began we were rolling because we thought, where are we going to get our beans from, And so that was such a big part.
We were so
our
lame
start.
in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's like this poor girl right now is like, she's so sweet. It's like, God, it's like starting over.
Yeah.
You know, it's like having a baby all over again. You know, Cindy has a brand new baby, so she
I
knows.
do.
Yeah. And just going back to those moments of like, how do we get beans
Yes.
to be quality that we can sell to people? You know, it's really interesting.
So you okay, that was your first event, and you already had a connection with Purify? Or,
Oh yeah,
Right
went-
before
yeah.
that, like within 2 weeks before that, we
Sure.
met him.
Okay, so just like
And what's great about Purify, which is he's a big name now. I mean, at least locally known. He said, I called him. Somebody gave me his number. I said, hey, bud, we're trying to start this coffee trailer business, and my name's Hebrews, and I want to do this. And do you guys have coffee, roasting, doing whatever? He goes, okay, I'm roasting out of my garage right now. Are you okay with that? I'm like, sure. Is that what everybody does? I mean, I don't know, whatever, you know. He's like, why don't I come over and do a tasting with you? We'll do a cupping. I was like, whatever that means. Okay, sounds good. That's cup
I love
away.
it.
You know, and we're
Let's cup
so
away.
green to the coffee industry. So anybody thinks that we had it figured out before we got into it, Lord Jesus, we did not. And he came alongside of us, and that's how we really had a quality product to bring to the market, even though we were in a trailer. You know.
oh, so then you just started from the beginning
Oh,
with
he
him.
was with us
Yes.
in the beginning.
Okay.
He's
And
been
so
with
we
us
kind
for-
of both grew together, right?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, now
We
his
grew-
facility's huge, and he's got
Yeah.
multiple giant big roasters and employees, and yeah, it's so cool.
I love Chris, by the way, just random.
He's great. Yeah, he's great. He's effective in areas that we're not. He's good in quality that we can't replicate. I can't go roast coffee and do what we do, and it's like for coffee industry people, the understanding like the car business, right? Like Mercedes manufactures vehicles, and then that dealership sells them. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? He is like the manufacturer in Germany, where we get to sell the retail portion of what he's doing. You know?
I'm
Yeah.
blind, though.
You're-
And that's what's really good, you know, is like he gets to give us this quality product that we actually offer to the public. But that's not something Marsha and I are good at doing.
I love that. Do you hear that, Chris? You're the Mercedes Benz
He's the
of the coffee
Mercedes-Benz.
industry.
Yeah, he is.
So, coffee flights.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know, like, who had the idea? Okay.
Yeah.
3 questions.
Yeah.
Who had the idea?
Yes.
When the moment you had the idea was? Okay. Like, literally. Like, how did that even come about? And did you know that they were going to take off?
Taking flight. So no, and no. So so we opened in February. This is a year this month.
So 2021.
We opened up to a wowing crowd of about 10 people.
Love it.
Because our location is absolutely not convenient for anybody in the Magnolia area or Woodlands. But God had given us this place and helped us to, you know, the owner of the property had helped us to build it out and do everything great because we couldn't afford anything at the time. So we used to have the Bible study in here called Bibles in the Coffeehouse because it was so dead in here that we wanted people to be in here, you know. And then one day we're and it's kind of a cool God story just of knowing what's going on. Customers started coming in and saying, hey, by the way, customers are the ones with the greatest ideas. So if you ever
They
think like
really
we're the
are.
ones, no. About the third person said, hey, why don't you do these? And there was a post going around saying, does anybody do these? And it was like a coffee flight board. And so
we didn't invent them.
No.
But apparently in other states, so when a customer said, hey, apparently this is a thing, would you guys be interested in doing these? And I was like, sure, we'll try it, you know. And at the time we were encouraging our customers like, hey, if there's any drinks you like
Yeah,
let
what
us
can we
know.
do?
We'll get whatever we need. And so when I researched it, there didn't seem to be anybody in the Houston area. Could be wrong.
Yeah.
But it was like other states, Georgia
Okay.
and other states I've seen that were doing them. And so we're like, okay. So we literally just ordered 3 wine boards from Amazon.
Okay.
You know,
And
and
some-
we're just like, we'll just try it, you know.
and
Who
some
knows?
cups. And so what's cool is that Bible study, this brother said, you know, and I listen to everything that people tell me. I'm like, oh, that sounds good. He said, listen, I see you in the spirit. Big redwood tree out of California. You've had this little hatchet in your hand for a long time. You're going chop, 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 chop. I'm telling you, man, I just saw the tree come down. God's going to give you an axe. Distribution's more than you can handle. I'm like, sweet,
He
sounds
basically
good.
said,
Whoa.
you've been
chopping
going
for a long time,
with a little
business
axe. And God's
owner.
about to give you an axe.
And
Yeah.
that's Tuesday.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, sounds great. Tuesday, we get the boards in. I said, whatever, let's get the boards. We'll take pictures. I'll put it out there. Wednesday morning, that line was out the door.
I
Wednesday
remember.
morning. Now, we only had 3 boards for the whole weekend. And so I go, hey, why are you guys here? What's going on? Oh, we're here for the coffee flights. I go, no. And so, but okay, the miracle. Okay, let me go back. So I post that thing about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I'm watching it, and by about 7:30, it's at 750,000 views. I said, "Good Lord!" Like,
What is that thing? For the people.
So, if you guys don't know, like, we keep it like pinned up on the Facebook. It's 3 pictures of the coffee flights that I took that Tuesday, just like I do with all the social media stuff. Randomly, the same pictures, basically in different positions. I just put it out there, and that thing started growing, and I started watching it. By 11 o'clock that night, it was at like 1.2 million views. I called Colton, our friend, who works with us. I said, "Dude, you got to watch this. Like, it's going nuts. Like, I've never seen anything go this nuts." And that's why the next morning they were lined up out the door.
Wow.
And it's been like that. That was the end of April of last year. It's been like that all the way, and it's still like that.
And so all summer we got completely
Oh, my
swamped
Lord.
because we had like about 6 of us working. And so especially when summer hit, I guess just kids being off school. I don't know. It was so different because I don't even know, were kids back in school? I don't know. With COVID and everything, everything was so different. A lot of people were out or not going into offices. So I think that's part of the thing is we seen so many people. It was like during the week, don't these people work, you know? And maybe they weren't, you know, or they were working from home.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's really when they took off.
6 employees.
Yeah.
We went to 28 employees in like 6 weeks.
Yes.
And God sent us like every great kid that, I mean, I couldn't even, where people were struggling to get workers, we had applications out the door. And everybody that came in was so on time.
They were so sweet.
So
It was
perfect.
just-
and we
yeah.
threw people in the fire. We had no training.
Wow.
We had no management. Hey, let's come in for 2 weeks. We're going to train you in the midst of
it
this
was
giant
like,
burst of business
figure
we
it
just
out.
got.
No, just kidding.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, great,
So
you
we
can
were seeing,
speak. Here you go.
and there's no
I
drive
don't
through
have any
here.
experience. It's good somehow.
Oh, I say we're going, and we all worked. You know, Marsha and I are working back there, so it's great because you come in today, you don't see us working back there anymore. It's like they booted us out. Like, okay, do other things. But I mean, it was that kind of giant, massive increase that you're never ready for. But man, what a cool opportunity, because then we saw a 10-time increase in everything we were doing. But then we had to manage that. And we had to build, and God had to grow us in the idea of managing that kind of volume in a little bitty
It's like
shop
we
with
went
no drive-through.
backwards, you know. Usually, you like, okay, we're going to prepare for growth, and these are the steps we're going to take, and how are we going to
We'll
train?
scale.
And like, we had to go the other way around.
Yeah.
You were like,
we just got thrown in there. We're like, we're going to keep up with you, God. Yes, we
Yeah.
are. And so we had to come back once, like, the real madness kind of stopped. I would say it was like August. It's kind of, I think everybody's, you know, going back to school, and it kind of began to slow down. And then we had kids that were working for us all summer that now they were going back to college or they were going off to college. And so we brought down, you know, our manpower for a little while, but really it's been so consistent that it's been good, but the madness of everything, you know?
Yeah.
It was exceptionally madness because we didn't have the manpower.
Yeah.
And so we were like every day
So it's
just
Oh man, the whole model changed, you know. And other coffee companies were like, hey, you know, we want to do flights too. And I was like, good luck. Like we changed our entire business model to have flight attendants and a flight deck and a flight thing and a
What?
We had to
What's the
shift
flight attendant? What?
we just shift.
our whole bar back there is now
Explain.
flight attendants.
Okay.
So flight attendants are those who just make flights. There's a separate machine that just does flights every day.
Wow.
But what's cool is like you think that's just a great marketing deal, and I thought it'd be very faddish and it would go away.
Yes.
And
He was
people
like,
would
oh, in
stop
3
coming.
weeks it's going to stop. And
This
I'm
is-
like,
they're not gonna keep
no.
coming back for
No.
flights. But what I didn't realize it was doing, even during the pandemic, was that it was connecting people. It was forcing 2 people probably to come in, connect,
least.
sit over coffee, drink. They might not like them all. They might not like 3 of them, but they're going to like 1 of them.
Interesting.
And then they're going to come back and order that as their favorite drink. And so it was beta testing people to try drinks that we were throwing out there. Crazy stuff, you know, all through Christmas and July and all that, you know.
Yeah.
And it just caused people to want to come.
And I
then-
think that's the 2 things, right?
Yeah.
Is it caused people to come together. They're like, let's go. We want to try these, right? And also, if you think about it, I don't know about you, but when I go to a coffee shop, I'm like, oh, that looks like a cool drink. That looks like a cool drink, but I'm going to get my normal brevet, you know?
yeah.
So this really, they're fun, and it really gave people an opportunity to try 4 different drinks.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
And that's not even bringing up your duo cups, which we won't talk about right now
oh,
because
yeah,
we can
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about that forever.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that was like the other one, right?
Yes, yes.
Where is that person? The person who told you, hey, guys should try this.
Well, there was at least 2 to 3 that we remember. Sam Slack,
sure
if you're out there. One of them,
yeah.
Sam Slack
Yeah.
out of Wood Forest.
Sam
Yeah.
Slack
Sam
from Wood
Slack.
Forest. We love you.
We
Yeah.
love you. She was the one who was like, you need to do the Alpine White Mocha. And then it was
Yes.
like the next week, it was like, what about these? And she, people come in, man. If you listen to like what people want,
Yeah.
here's the sad thing, coffee companies of the world. People wanted these that bad, and we didn't know about it. Now, we maybe have a little bit of excuse because we just kind of opened in February, but man, people wanted that. And we don't even know what that was. They just wanted the ability to come try things, be around, girlfriends come in, have little day dates. And I mean, but we see guys taking pictures. Guys are setting up the boards and popping shots of the flights, and I love it because it's what a cool social media phenomenon. And it's still going. It's still growing. And that one post that was at like 1.2 million now is at 2.4 something million views.
Yeah.
It's still revolving.
Yeah.
Well, and if I could say too, like this really a mom and pop thing for
Yeah.
a shop, because
You can call me Pop.
we had to make a lot of adjustments, and we had to do them quick.
Yeah.
Right. And so now we went from behind the bar with, making cold drinks or espresso drinks. Now we had to do this whole setup to have flights and all like the toppings that go on it.
Oh, man, yeah.
And so for mom and pop shops, I think it was just easy for us to just make those adjustments versus
Yeah.
other companies that have to go through corporate or have to get things set up.
Yeah.
For us, it was just something that we could do. So we
Yeah.
did it, and I
But
think
these poor people coming in, guys, I would hold up a sign that said there's a 50-minute wait on flights, and nobody cared.
they'd be like, okay.
They'd be like, that's fine. Like,
They're
the
like,
line-
we're here waiting.
That's good.
I'm
No
like,
big deal.
Honey, you got to go let them know. I'd be
Hey,
back
we're
there
a
like
45-minute
sweating.
wait on flight. Hey,
And I'm
we're
like,
cutting flights off
yes.
because we
They would
close
be
in an hour.
out the door.
And
Rain coming down.
Rain-
We'd set up
oh,
all
man, it
those
was so
umbrellas so that
incredible.
nobody would get wet. I'm like, you got to go tell those people it's going to be 45-minute wait. And he'd go out there and they're like, okay. We're like,
hey,
oh
we
my
had
gosh.
one little machine when we started.
Yeah.
That we thought we'd never grow out of. I was like, we're never going to grow out of the machine. We're not going to do that much business back here. We had to upgrade to this big triple decker thing, and then
Yeah.
we kept the other one just for flights. So it was like making drinks and flights at the same time on this little machine, 2 drinks at a time.
Oh, I
it was
love
terrible.
it. That should be the name of your little book. The little machine that could.
a little machine that could.
And it's a little espresso machine.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
and you know what? One day it began
I
to
like that.
steam.
Yeah, it did. Oh,
And it was like,
That little-
I'm done. I'm
You
done.
need to keep that machine.
oh, we
did.
do. It's
We
back
kept
there.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That
we
little
we talked
machine
to our
is
supplier, and
amazing.
she's like, "Yeah, that little machine was like for
Not
small
meant to
cafes.
do volume."
What you're doing now, no, it's
Yeah.
going to give out on you." So
Yeah.
we did. We switched it up.
So
Aw.
every time when we just been, and it's funny because small business people, if you're listening, it's hard to plan anything. For the planners out there, you guys are amazing. We had no projections. We had no real litmus tests or base to go off of what was going to. We came out of a trailer. So all of our generated numbers were like trailer talk. It's like trailer
Trailer
park to
talk.
the, whatever. And so it's just amazing to see what's happened. And then honestly, we got really good at being big.
Okay.
And then I couldn't figure out how to be small again. I couldn't get my staff, dealing with
Well,
labor. I couldn't
yes.
get my labor under control. We had all these employees, and now we're finally at a good flow where there's a good work staff, and we're still serving. We have runners, and they're like, table attendants that come and get all your stuff, and that's an extra expense that we really pay for. We don't need runners. People could come get their drinks, but I want people to be served and talked to and connected with and touched.
That's
you
nice.
know,
And I
when
think what's cool is we figured out about the coffee flights is that every 2 to 3 weeks we put new drinks out, and
Yeah.
it really caused people that really like the idea and like to come to go, oh hey, now we're going to come back and we're going to try the
Yeah.
new flights. And so that's really helped us just continue to grow.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that goes into that, right? Like
Yeah.
we got to figure out what drinks, and then we have to make sure we have the supply, and then we have
Oh,
to
yeah.
get the team to know what goes in there.
Yeah.
So
now you train them?
it's
Yeah, there's a
yes,
constant
and it's
recurrent training on
taken,
flights.
and I'm still the one that really figures out what drinks are we going to do.
Yeah.
And I'll get their opinions or like, hey, what's a good drink? But for the most part, it's like there's stuff that goes into that, and it really.
So you're
know.
researching on what people want.
Yes,
Yeah.
I really do. I go out there and try to find like unique drinks or
Yeah.
some,
Mm-hmm.
I like the creative end of it. And I think being a smaller company allows us to do that.
Yeah.
Bring in specials or, hey, today we're going to have this as a special.
Yeah.
That's what I like to do.
I love that.
And so this month is our 1-year anniversary. And so, like, we just ended Valentine's Day. And so now we're going to start the 1-year anniversary flights, which is that same flight from a year ago.
Which was?
That went viral.
What was it? Do you remember?
Oh, the lavender honey and the
Mexican
alpine white,
mocha.
Mexican mocha, and the caramel vanilla, whatever the original picture was.
Yeah.
We're gonna recreate that so people can come back and try that.
I love it.
Yeah, isn't that
You
cool?
need your merch with your original
We
flight
do.
on
We need
it.
flight pictures.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
the
you
flight.
go.
This was it.
Good
Cute little
idea.
illustration.
2021. This is what happened.
Hey, I can't believe it. It's already 2022. That's
I
insane.
know.
It
I
is.
know.
It's like had a baby and everything.
I know.
Brings me to my next question.
Oh, yeah.
So, how do you guys balance like family and business, being a mom and pop shop,
Yeah.
you know, and
Right.
having children? And
Yes.
I mean, it's hard, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
It is, yeah. I
What
think
is it
there
like?
were several months where we were like nonstop. We were just running, you know what I mean? There were several. And I feel like over the last few months that it's kind of like our workers, they do an amazing job. We have some girls that really head up, you know, the shop. My daughters come in to work full time here now, so she's in the kitchen. And I was really in the kitchen. So when we got hit like that,
Yeah.
I was drowning in the kitchen. Help, Lord. I was
Oh, yeah.
really drowning in there. And so we begin to hire. I mean, it's just, you know, the kitchen's tough because you got to have people that are kitchen people.
Yeah.
And we've put other people in there that anybody can learn how to, you know, make a panini. But it really takes kitchen people that want to be there, you know?
Yeah, that's
and
true.
So I slowly begin to, you know, get myself out of there. And it really was it was a weird time when I realized I don't have to be there getting it all together, being in there, you know? But my daughter was really one of the ones that helped really
Yeah,
get me
she's
out of the
great.
kitchen.
Wow.
And
Yeah,
so now we
she-
have an amazing kitchen staff. We have amazing staff. And so there isn't this heavy burden of like, we have to be there from open to close, you know, in our
because you
short
were,
little-
right?
Yeah. Oh.
When,
yes.
when everything got
yeah,
really
we
big,
were
you were
here
here.
Monday through Saturday
Oh, yeah.
from the time it opened to the time it closed.
Yeah.
And even after, I'm assuming, right? Because you had to
it doesn't
close.
stop.
Oh,
it
yeah.
never
I mean, we were
stops.
working and we still do, you know,
Yeah.
we work at home all the time. But I think the fact that we get to be together, I think that just helps at all. It's just,
Yeah.
it's like our baby, right? And you just take care of your baby. You're
Yeah,
like, okay,
yeah.
you just take care of it together. And even though it's draining at times, you know, or other times, but it's a sweet thing.
I could not do this without her. It would be impossible, even if you had the best staff. I think there's something relational that happens when a couple takes on a business endeavor, that you can see that through the business model. You can see that through the relationships. You can see that through, and when people get to see Marsha and taste her food and know that she's kind of behind the scenes creating things, it's just better than nothing, you know, just a brand. And we didn't have anything else but us to brand, you know. I mean, we didn't have some great logo, or nobody knew who Hebrews was or whatever, you know. So it really became our faces, really became her face in the back and then my face in the front. But just as much as y'all are probably sick of seeing my face and videos and all that, it's nice when Marsha gets to come out and you can see some of the things that she's doing.
But I think really our growth really maybe not, you know, obviously a lot of people come here, but our
Yeah.
growth took place when we were in the trailer because we were going from church to church, school to
Yeah.
school, business to business. People began to see
Yeah.
us around town. And that was when we had the opportunity to open up here in a hidden little location. That was kind of our hope. It was like, well, we have a good social media presence. We know our community. So hopefully people come hang out.
we had like a
come.
2,500 person following on social media. That's not a great social media presence. Like, we have 25,000 followers now at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
You know, and so everything we put out there, and it's just to make everybody responds, you know, and it's
You have a
fantastic.
community.
Yes, you
Yeah,
have a community,
and
for
our
sure.
community doesn't just hit Magnolia. It's Spring,
Surrounding.
Houston.
Yeah.
We had a real estate team come in yesterday and buy all the drinks and flights for anybody walking through the door from 8 to 12. Y'all, they came from Sugar Land, Rosenberg, Tascasita. They came from
Cypress,
all over.
yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
But how did they see it? They saw it on social media.
Social media.
And that's so everybody who's been supporting social media, which maybe Facebook shuts down one day. I don't know what we do, but it can happen, dude. But I just realized, man, that's constant contact that we're able to have with our customers, even through.
We have several people. We'll be out, and one reason or another, we mentioned like, oh, we follow you. We've never been there. We want to come. And it's amazing, right?
I love
such
that.
a crazy
it's
world.
a little surreal that she's kind of not telling the whole truth. They actually recognize us from videos and pictures.
Mostly
we know
him.
you. We know
Mostly
you.
him, yeah.
You know?
Are people asking for your autograph yet?
No,
Yes.
God.
Lots of
no.
autographs.
No.
I've ran out of pens to write with. No. But it's cool that there's a recognition, and
There is,
we don't take that lightly.
Yeah.
We're a coffee shop owner. We're not doing anything crazy, you know what I mean? So it's a big deal that people would recognize us, and we were talking about Chip and Joanna, like, do they get sick of interviews? I'm like, I don't get sick of interviews. I love interviews. I love connecting and being able to share like what God's doing. It's really our platform.
Well,
for our ministry.
we know this. It's the favor.
It is.
Yes.
The favor is, yeah.
It's a lot of
It really
favor
is.
of the
It's
Lord
what
in
it
this place.
boils
And if
down
anybody's
to,
been
right?
back to this shop, they understand fighting that parking lot
Yeah.
and driving back to some weird thing. And it's beautiful back here, but it's a weird first touch, right?
And that's the testimony from people is, wow, we walk in and there's this presence of God.
Yeah.
And that's what's cool,
And that's what we want. We
I
want to
love
be
it.
we want to be facilitators of that hospitality. So our hope is that when people walk in, they really do feel like they're at home. It's like you having the baby shower here, like having those opportunities for people to come and use the space all the time. And
That was my
worship
favorite,
nights.
by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me have that.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, it's so
so
cool.
cool.
I mean, I thought this is a relationship that started with Cindy back in the day before we ever had a shop. And here we are doing an interview with you, but we've known you for 3 years,
Yeah.
at least.
I think
least.
it's been. Yeah.
And so it's just cool. It's cool to come back around and share that story. And you've supported us.
Thank you.
You've come in here. You drive.
Did I
Where
say
you,
thank you
you
for
guys don't even live around here, do you?
No, we live in Creekside.
I know. We all live over by us.
Yeah.
I mean, but
a
it's like,
little.
yeah.
So they're 20,
Yeah.
30 minutes away, and people
Yeah.
drive over here to be a part of that. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, it's special. It's different,
Yeah.
Is there anything where like you were like, maybe we should have done that sooner, maybe we should have done that later, maybe we shouldn't have done that?
I really cannot think of anything, honestly, because I think it was just so organic from God. I really do believe that.
Yeah.
Even there was so many times where we're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool to have a shop out here? Or we'd be
Yeah.
out driving. We're like, let's have a shop out here. And then we'd go and like, wow, it costs that much every month. Jeff's
Yeah.
like, that's a lot of
Yeah.
coffee. And so we kind of just didn't push. We didn't push before it was actual time.
I love that.
But even here, when he said, no, I'm going to do a build out for you guys. I know what it takes. Jeff was like, man, I just don't know. And so even when it was presented to us, we just said, God, okay, we're just going to take step by step, open the doors, close the doors that need to be shut. But I don't think there's
You
anything
can't-
specific.
As a business owner, you can't forego the process. Whether you would have not taken that loan or that debt or what the bad partnerships or anything, you can't forego those things. You almost have to fail in these areas in order for you to grow to be to your full potential. Because without experience, most of us jump into business. It's not like we came out of 40-year business plans where we
Right.
were
Yeah.
senior VPs and this. We just, I know, we'll start a business. We're going to go do it together. It's going to be
Yeah.
great. God's
Yeah.
for us. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, we're failing. We're broke. We make $200 a week. All those things are I like this saying, is like failing forward. It's not failing. It's adding up to some bigger purpose.
Yeah, that's good.
And I think the point in our life where we had already gone through a lot of hardship, a lot of failure, a lot of fire, so I mean, I'm not saying we're there, oh, okay, we've made it. But I'm just
We have
saying
one
we went
shop.
through
It's
a
not that
lot.
big of a deal, but
yeah, no, I mean, I'm just, we went through a lot of things individually.
Yeah.
And so when God brought us together, I think we really had a sense of like, okay, this is God, let's go, or just things that we had partners.
Yeah.
We had 3 other partners when we first started the trailer, and we decided, you know what, back then at the time, I think there was a lot of wisdom that
Yep.
they gave us. There was a lot of help that they gave us that maybe business wise we really couldn't deal with, or Jeff and I were more on the relation end of it. Like we could, have the relationships with people, and I'm a little bit more on the creative end, and kind of I like to work on perfecting whatever it is that we're doing. But the business partners really helped us, not just to start off like money-wise or whatever. They gave us a little bit of capital in the trailer, but it was, I think, a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
And we had partners for 2 years, about 2 years. And there came a point where it was real evident from God that they were to leave. And we were kind of like, it was kind of like a little bit of
That's hard,
season.
yeah.
We're like, what do we do? No, we need them. And, you know, and they were great, but you could tell it was a season where God was moving out. Well, we couldn't foresee this happening, but, you know, in 2020 of February, we were able to buy them out. And it was just kind of like, okay, we came to this place. We had kind of like this
Let's
clean,
rock and roll.
and we had events
Get that
planned.
trailer moving.
Yeah,
Easter's coming.
Yeah, we had all kinds of events planned for March and April, and then COVID hit in March.
Hit, man. We're out of there.
And we were like,
dang it.
But what nobody could foresee anything
Yeah.
really happening. But in January, God provided for us to actually go
Yeah.
work for a brother in logistics. I was very
I know.
reluctant. I was like, really?
So we're going to make money.
Yeah,
Yay.
but we weren't doing it as of January. We weren't doing anything during the day with coffee.
Okay.
A
Yeah.
lot of our events were in the evening and on the weekends.
Okay.
And so, and my heart was really like, oh, if it wasn't for that brother, because he's just a sweet brother in the
Yeah.
Lord, and he needed help. And he said, well, I don't just want you, Geoff, in sales. Marsha has a background in logistics, so I'd like, and you guys are a team. I don't want to take that away. And so we decided in January, after really believing it was God, to go ahead and do that. And then we'd still have our coffee going. So we did that, and little did we know that really saved us. He worked for them really almost throughout the year, because sales and logistics was vital. And even though I was let go, it was probably end of March, but I had to be home with my kids anyway,
Yeah.
right? School and all this. And so anyway, it just really was, even through the midst of our slow period, God just kept us going, you know?
Yeah. It was so good.
And we
then-
came back in
And that set us up
October.
for this. Yeah. I mean, and then I took a job with this development, and they said, listen, we're going to hire you as a property manager, but you have to build your coffee shop. I was like, no. I said, this is terrible. This is the worst place ever to have a coffee shop. No. Believe me, if you build it, they will come. I was like, oh, yeah, I watched that movie, okay? Bunch of dead baseball players, okay? Thank you. But no, he was right. He had vision for us. He had seen us sweat in the trailer. He knew there was potential there, and he was willing to invest in that as just a property developer. And, man, we had a shop, you know?
What is your idea of success? Or no, how do you define success?
I mean, guys, we'd like to say, wow, we just made lots of money and we're just so rich. That is not success. Maintaining and facilitating the relationships that we have. Every customer that walks through this door, I say customer, but every community person that's walking through the door and spending their time and money on us and cares to be here and plants in here, that's success. The more people I see driving from 50, 60 miles away to come and be a part of something, like that's success. Like there's a generated energy that only God's doing right now that's huge. It's beyond what we could possibly ever have thought about. And I just, and the fact, we started with Bible studies. We still do Bible studies. Every Tuesday, we still have a giant
Well,
Bible
when we
study.
worked for the logistics company,
Yeah.
he started the coffee and
Bibles in the boardroom.
Bibles in the
Yeah.
boardroom, because all the boardrooms were pretty, especially during COVID. Right?
Yeah.
So, so anyway, that was kind
I
of where we
say
started.
that because it's the foundation. It's the thing that we started doing in terms of like what God was doing. Is He's building community, right? Yeah. He brews is like He's brewing something great. You know, He is moving. He is talking. He is doing it. And I think as long as we stay consistent in our faith and family values in terms of what we do here, that's who's coming. And we have this flux of people that are looking for a space that they can feel confident and comfortable in. And just as Starbucks does a great job on creating a third space between home and business and school or whatever, we want to be the third space between home and church. We want
like
people
that.
to have a 6-day-a-week place to come and engage when church is over on Sunday. Yeah,
I love it.
what do you think about that? Yeah.
You
So-
good with that? Yeah,
And
I'm really
check,
good with
yeah.
that.
Along the success, now we have opportunities to open up maybe not one shop, but even 2 shops. And for us, it's not so much like, yes, we want to go have more shops to be
Yeah.
in charge of and take care of, but do we believe that our community needs what is going on here? Because we get to hear and see all the connections and the relationships that have started here. It's so seriously like that. is
Yeah.
success. It's so amazing to hear people that were down and out, people that were going through divorces, people that were going through depression, people that were, especially coming out of COVID in 2020, when life kind of really shifted for everybody, right?
Yeah.
It people that would go into an office and at least be a community. Now we're having to work from home and we're alone, you know. So to see that community built up over just several months, it's just been like that's been the most amazing part.
I love
and
that.
a lot of our regulars that come, it's because they come here and people do know their name, and customers know their name, not just us or our employees.
Yeah.
Customers, you know, just getting to know each other.
Is there a story that stood out to you? Or is there like someone that you met that walked through those doors and you're like, oh my gosh?
There's
Like-
a bunch.
Yeah,
Oh, you
they're
mean like
real-
that had something great happen? Or?
I mean, just in general,
Yeah.
like, is there a story that
Yeah.
you're like, wow? You know?
I
Or
want to
mean,
share like our friend Karen. Like she would come in here and she would journal and she would read her book, and she came from California, her and her sister, and she would just sit down. She'd come maybe once or twice a week. She would come and she was just kind of in her own world, and like slowly but surely, like we just started making connection with her. Our girls started to. She started to meet people, and it was so cool. Like
Yeah.
she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm still." I'm like, "Oh, what church do you go to?" She mentioned something about church, and she's like, "No, I'm still watching my home church online Sundays." So I was like, "Oh, okay," and so she came to a place where she really wasn't like, you know, in church and being able to fellowship, but she would come here and she just began to grow. And I'm telling you, she's here all the time now. In fact, the reason why I'm sharing her story is because like maybe a couple months ago, she's like, I realized what my job is. You know, she was taking a break from work or whatever it was. And she said, it's to be a Hebrews customer every day. And we're like,
My full-time
wow.
job is to be a Hebrews customer and be here.
Yes.
I was
And
like,
she
right on. I want that
began
job.
to sit here and talk to people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We would be out in events or couldn't be here, and she would be meeting new people, and she would be talking to them and
Connecting,
engaging and
yeah.
connecting. And it was just so cool to see like God just completely do that. And now like she's like, oh yeah, she comes to Bible studies, women's Bible studies. Like this is
She's
her
a
home
connector.
for-
Yeah, I love that.
So cool.
She's great, man. And there's a lot of little stories like that. I know it sounds very churchy what we're saying. It's not that we're churchy. It's
Your
that we
religious
really,
cafe.
we are a very religious cafe. Y'all see that 1-star review? It's not that it's church. It's just what we really wanted a church experience to be like. Is you just come home and people love you, and you just come in all your crud, and you share, and you're transparent, and people are there to meet you. And they're happy to meet you here, you know. And then we do kind of treat it like a little party here. So Saturdays, it's like it's insane. I mean, it really is insane. There's 600 people that come through here, you know. When
you
we
have
music
worship nights and
outside.
everything, yeah.
Yeah.
Worship nights and everything. But it's that growing momentum of more community spots where people can come and just be themselves. You know, no agenda, nothing going on. Just you in a coffee shop and a bunch of people that want to be around you and be engaged with you.
I want to talk about social media.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Okay, no, really though.
Yeah.
Because you are killing it on social media. Okay, so it's
I
like
think I'm dominating it, like in a
You're-
bad way.
you-
I'm on everybody's feed. They're like, "There's that guy again." Yeah,
no, I love it.
Yeah.
He's like
I love
that
it.
commercial that plays
Just
over
kidding.
and
Geico. I'm
over
like
and
Geico.
over.
It's like,
No,
Jesus,
just
turn this
kidding.
thing off. Yes.
No, but really, so it's like your background in marketing, or is what happened in Jeff's mind? And you're like, you know what? I'm gonna dominate social media.
I had to
It's
learn.
so natural, though.
It
Honestly,
was a little
it
bit. I
really
mean,
is.
Once I figured out Facebook, I thought, this is brilliant. Like, we could just get any information out we wanted in a minute, you know? And when it came to, I had a lot of people tell me, like, you just use it for your business. I go, why? We don't do much on our personal social medias. Like, we'll post if we go to the zoo or something, you know? But really, everything's in our life here. And one of the big things is I always wanted to expose the story that was taking place. I wanted to take pictures today. I didn't want to schedule posts out. So all my posts are today. Or tonight at 12 o'clock at night when I'm finally in bed and I'm posting things. So why does this guy post at midnight? Like, I have no real rhyme or reason. Every social media expert has told me, you're doing it all wrong, man.
What?
You need to have your posts scheduled out, the times that people are looking. I'm like, I know. But, you know, so nothing I've done has really been trained or anything. I did have some brothers come alongside me and teach me pictures and quality of photography. and how to capture things that are clear and concise. And when we do interviews or we do videos and we just get information out there that people can just connect to real quick, in 30 seconds.
And part of what I think Geoff really realized, like there might be a lot of coffee companies and their social media, they're like drinks, and it's cool, right? But Jeff's heart was really, it was like people. Mm-hmm. So now you have a person with the drink, right? Yeah. So it was like that relational aspect of it. And that's something that's just his heart. He's always loved it. And I think exposing what's going on. We'll go to other coffee shops, we'll go to other businesses, and he'll do the same thing. Yeah. Right? Mm-hmm. So
and one thing to the coffee world and social media. Now listen, to do the amount of social media work I do, you'd probably have to spend $120,000 on your marketing person. Yeah. Because we own it, we do it, But one of the things is too, when you look at other social media platforms, look at their picture content. It's always product. Yeah. People are not always coming in for product. They want to see people. They want to see high school people. They want to see people they know. They want to see their friends. They want to see your friends' kids. They want to see what they're... And it's almost like a lot of people don't get that. And so when we mix product with people and place, we really are able to show this is all that's conducting this business here is you people and your baby shower and the things that are going on in your life and your posting. And like when the flights came out, everybody's posting their own stuff. I didn't have to post anymore. Right. People are sharing their own content.
You're like, thank you.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. They had a picture of their families. I'm not picking weird. I'm like that weird guy with the, hey, just stand there and take pictures of you.
Josiah actually said you're like a grandpa at the family reunion and you're taking pictures of everyone.
Yeah. He does.
I'm that awkward guy. I'm sorry.
No, you're not.
It'll be like, we'll be in a room, just different places we're at where it's like complete, everybody's sitting down. There's one person speaking and Geoff gets up and go and I'm just like, okay, really, right now?
It'd be cool if I had a cool camera, but it's always my phone,
He likes to show people.
If I had a legit camera, they'd be like, that guy's probably important. Let's let him take pictures. It's always my phone, like the creeper.
Yeah, very true. But you have a good camera, though.
We do have a good camera. I do.
I think you wouldn't even use the professional camera. Don't you have a professional camera now?
No, I don't.
No,
I wouldn't know.
He wouldn't. No,
I came in here the other day, and he did have a camera. And I remember you took pictures, but you were taking pictures with it. And then I remember you kind of threw it off to the side. You're like, no, I don't like that thing. And then you went back to your phone.
I did.
And I think part of his ability is he just, when I say something about I'm going to post that, 2 hours later, I'm still figuring out how to post it or whatever. And he does things so fast. Sometimes it's a bad thing. We get comments are like, hey, you misspelled that word. Or our friends
nobody edits me. I'm an idiot when it's
and be like, hey,
did you mean to say? That's kind of a voice text in the car when I'm posting. I don't know.
Yeah. So.
But we do, social media is maybe one day we have a shop where there's some walk around traffic or somebody can see us from a road. But right now it's only social media driven because of our locality. Yeah. And I'm really grateful that the Lord allows us to use these platforms for free marketing and advertising, So much so now, just a cool point of, I always wonder what influencers are like, or social media influencers, they get paid by, to the fact that because the posts have gone so high and because the number of followers that we have, Facebook now pays us to post.
No way. You're monetized?
Oh, we're monetized.
Whoa, you made it.
Yeah.
That's success.
Dang it.
I was like, you're an influencer now. No, I'm just kidding.
For kids nowadays, that really is. They want to be a YouTuber and a thingies.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I want in. I said, dang, they really pay for this stuff? I said, okay, we'll do more. So, but we have to constantly we have to learn new things, even about reels. I was not good at reels, doing reels. I had that religious video, taking a bad comment that was not bad. I didn't think it was bad, but we got a 1-star Google review, and it said 1-star religious cafe. And I said, man, how can we spin that, or what can we do to do something? So we filmed this whole thing on a Saturday about dressing like Moses and having a religious cafe. So that took some creativity from other people to help me with that, Yeah. But it was funny, and everybody watched it. Yeah. There's not one person I've run into that has not watched that video now in our community, Which I look ridiculous, and it's
I loved it.
Sad if that was the first impression of me.
Totally. But I show it to people all the time.
That's so funny.
Well, thank you so much, you guys, for sharing. And
absolutely.
I'm just very thankful that you guys took a step and actually, came out here in the middle of nowhere, Magnolia.
Yeah.
Should name it that.
Middle of nowhere.
Well, I remember the first time I was coming out here, and I was like, where is it? Especially when you're driving in.
Yes.
Even when you're driving in, you're like, I don't think this is the location. Yes. But anyways.
Yes, yeah.
I'm really thankful that you guys did this. I remember when you were posting pictures of that tile specifically,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Because I was used to the black and white, the monochrome, like, you know,
Yes.
monochromatic look.
Yes.
And what you guys did with the space, it's also inviting,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like the space itself.
Yeah.
Just,
Yes.
And I mean, I wanted to talk about that too, but I know we crunch on time and we can talk forever, right?
That's
Maybe
right.
episode 2 next time.
Episode
There you
2.
go. I
know,
Join
right?
us for episode 2.
When we
Yes.
talk about the design,
back.
the decor.
How we copy everything from Chip and Joanna Gaines.
stop.
Just, we'll leave that out. We'll leave that out.
Thank you so much, you
Yeah, you
guys.
got it, guys.
And
So glad.
how can people find you? On
How
social
can
media.
they find us? They're going to drive down this crazy little road in the back of Magnolia. No, our Facebook is, Hebrews Coffeehouse Magnolia, and our Instagram is at Hebrews Magnolia. And we have opportunity possibly for 2 new stores this year. And so those things will be Hebrews Spring or Hebrews Conroe. So just look for all the new little. I post incessantly. So problem is, here's the disclaimer. Once you add us, I'm sorry ahead of time because
Yeah.
you're going to see our little faces a lot
Yeah.
on your feed.
Yeah.
So,
And
just beware.
our address back here, we're in the back of industrial galvanized, like this galvanized steel buildings, and you're like, what? There's a coffee shop back here, but we're in the very back, and our hours are short, right? They're 7:30 to 2, and then on Saturdays 8 to 1. So we do have limited hours, maybe
worst
other
coffee
locations
shop
won't
hours
be.
ever, but it works. I don't know how it works.
does.
So
yeah.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And thank you for having me.
yes,
Okay.
Awesome.
Time for some coffee flights.
amen.
Yay.
Okay, let's go. Let's do it.
Now we got to take a flight and get out of here.
Yeah.
I know. I was like,
No, it's
3:43.
okay.
Oh.